everybody, welcome to Panther Girl Plays. This week I am going to be reviewing Timeline Challenge. Got to play it actually as a two-player, so I will go over that in my review, but pretty fun game. The craft I came up with for this game this week is a sand timer. So you can find all kinds of little YouTube links and Pinterest links on how to do this, but I thought, you know, I'm going to try to see if I can figure it out on my own because that's how I do things. So making it, putting it together was fun. It was interesting, but I wanted to show you guys exactly how I went about doing this. So here's what you're going to need. So let's just get started into this. First thing that I wanted to do was to go ahead and cut two sides or two of the same size pieces of the off of this balsa wood. This is going to make the top and the bottom of the frame that I'm actually going to put my timer in. So I've gone ahead and done that. There's my two sides. So I've got a top and a bottom. And if you notice, I've already put 4 holes in it, in each corner, and I'll explain to you why I did that too. So, and then next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your dowel rod and you're going to want to cut 4 same size pieces out of this. I've got a long one. You don't need a really long one, but you know, it's just easier to work with because I wasn't sure exactly what size I was going to need. But I've already cut this into its 4 pieces that I needed. So here's my 4 pieces. All right, these are about 7.5 inches, not quite, but almost 7.5 inches each. And then also these are about 2.5 inches. You can go by that size if you want to. I would just suggest making it the size that you want it to be because it's really going to depend upon the bottles that you use as to what size your frame is going to be. That just works for mine. So, all right, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take the tops off the bottles and you're going to want to glue these 2 tops together. So these are my tops. I've glued them together. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to drill a hole straight through the middle. What I have done is I've used my hand drill. I have a little small hand drill. And I believe this was a 1/4 inch bit that I used in my drill. But basically you want it small enough, not too big, because the bigger it is, obviously the faster the sand's going to run through it. And I just drilled right straight through it with the 2 already glued together. So it works. Yay! Okay. So now I have that. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put the sand. And like I said, I've already got some measured out here. It's 2 minutes or however long if you want. But the way that we're going to play it, I'm a little lackadaisical on it when it comes to this. So you're going to use a funnel and you're going to pour that sand all the way in there. All right, now I've got my sand in there. All right. Now I'm going to take my 2 tops and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that on there. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and attach my top. All right. So there we go. So that's it. That's the beginning stages of it. So the next thing I'm going to do, just to make sure that this doesn't move at all, I'm going to take my masking tape and I'm going to tape around the lids themselves. All right, so there you have it. So there we go. That's our beginning. So now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint this part. So now that we've gotten to this part, we're going to set this aside and we're going to let this dry. And as that's drying, we're going to go ahead and put together our frame. So, like I said, you're going to have your two pieces. You're going to have a top and a bottom piece. You're going to want to make sure that you drill a hole in all four corners that fits your dowel rod through it. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a dab of glue in each one of the corners here, just to make sure that the dowel rods stay in place. Alright, and then I'm going to stick those bad boys right on through there. And make sure it goes all the way to the bottom so it's flat. Alright, so there we go. So now we have it all ends in right there. And then the next part we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we are going to paint all the pieces before we put the top on it. Okay, now we have our paint done. So, next thing you want to do is, once everything is dry, you're going to want to glue the top to your corners here. And it'll all look all nice and straight once we do that. So we're going to give this a second to dry and then we'll come back and we'll do that. Okay, so now that we have everything painted, now the next thing we're going to do is, before we put the top on, I'm going to set my bottles in my frame. Just like this. Okay. Now, as you can see, the dowel rods come just a little bit above it, which is exactly where I want it. I'm going to secure this. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to secure it a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right underneath the bottom here. You also want to make sure that it's centered. Press it on in there. All right. So then we're going to put that top on. I shouldn't have. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take how we glued the bottom ones into, or the dowel rods into the bottom part. We're going to do the same for the top as well. So we're just going to put a dab of glue in each of the holes. Now comes the fun part, lining it all up. Okay, and there we have it. We're all done. It's all nice and dry and it's glued together, and we've got the top and we got the bottom. Now let's test it. So, woo, voila, and it works. That's fantastic. Now I think the timer, I think we timed this at about like 1:40 or something like that. But at any rate, I don't really care. It's just for show and it's just for fun anyways. If you want to make one that is specific to your timing, then what you're going to need to do is just make sure that prior to gluing anything together, you take a top. Make sure that hole is the right size of whatever size that you need, as far as the size of your bottle and as far as how much sand you're going to use for the timing. And then you're just going to pour in the sand until you get to that point of however long you want it to last. So anyways, hope you enjoyed it. I had fun making this. I think it's really cool. It's really neat. It was something I wasn't really sure if I could pull off, and I'm really glad to see that I could. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks.